Welcome to What's on My Mind. These are musings from a rebel mystic. Today, I want to talk about AI, and that is a big topic. I recently talked with my son, who was telling me about how he has been using Claude and all the new apps that are coming out with Claude to streamline and help him in his projects. He have Claude run a research on a project, and while he's sleeping, and then it'll search through all of the like images for that are on Instagram and on Facebook and wherever else, and websites and stuff for this project that he's working on, and it'll pick out the best ones and then place it into his project. He said this saves him hours and hours and hours of manual labor. So he also uses it for he does a lot of programming and debugging. And so he sets up these little uh, systems where the the app in Claude can debug whatever it is that he's working on trying to set up. And so he says that saves him hours and hours of having to look through code line by line by line to figure things out. So the AI is a very powerful tool, analytical tool, and a very much can streamline um, the workflow. That sounds really great. I use it quite a bit too. I work with Claude and Gemini and Chat, and each one has their strengths and each one has their disadvantages. So uh, I use it to help me brainstorm mostly, and to help me work with uh, the things that I'm working on, like, astrology and understanding, and my puppy, how to understand how to train him and what he's trying to tell me. Yes, he's being very helpful. And so I use it quite a bit too. And I use it for helping me figure out how to make my stories better and how to uh, uh, create images and how to work on my website and to smooth out my emails that I dictate the ideas and then I have them smoothed out. So I use it quite a bit too, but I also am aware of its limitations. It doesn't have a heart. It doesn't understand. It doesn't have a context of the nuances of what it is to be human. It's very mental. And as I'm working through a phase of moving from being in my head all the time to being and working and living it with the world through my heart, which my spirit comes through my heart, and letting out my spirit, I'm really beginning to see this differentiation between being in the head, very analytical, very linear, and coming from the heart, which is a place of compassion and seeing a bigger picture. Now, I'm not saying that AI, because I've had some very deep conversations with AI, they it draws on a vast library of experience, or not experience, of other people's experiences and of books that are written and education and literature and all these things it draws on. And it's really good for analyzing your lab reports because they're all in this medical jargon and you don't know what they mean. So you plug them in to AI and it'll say, okay, this is what's going on and this is what this does and this is why what this means. So it's very helpful for when you go to the doctor and get more answers out of the doctor. So it has its role, it has its place. But where I'm having a problem with it is this concept that we are experiencing already with the use of social media is it disconnects us from our reality. And what my son was talking about as the future of AI, and what I heard about a little bit on the news was how eventually AI will displace all the people who are doing, we'll call them intellectual type things. A lot of my uh, in my author groups, the info, the people that the trainings and stuff, they're all pushing AI. Have AI write your book for you. And it's like, I'm not doing that because I tried it. I had it write a section for me, and it was just flat. It was not what I had envisioned my characters to do. And so I said, forget it. It can help me analyze and come up with a title and what to say about the book, but it does not understand the subtle nuances that humans convey to each other through words, through syntax, through the way we say things that we have learned as humans to be able to read. AI at this point does not know how to do that. And it can come across as seeming like it's very intuitive and very perceptive and very wise and everything. But really, what it is it's just drawing on this vast database of information and putting it all together and giving it to you uh, like it knows what it's talking about, which is very useful if you're brainstorming. I do that a lot with it. I say, okay, here's my ideas. Help me sort out my ideas so I can make sense of them. But they are my ideas, and chat will bring in information, or Claude or Gemini will bring in information, but it's not coming up with the ideas. And then once I have an idea, it says, oh, would you like me to help you do this? Or would you like me to help you do that? And would you like me to help you do this? And of course, then you go down a rabbit hole, which I've done a lot of. So I have to admit that I have used AI quite a bit in the capacity that I have. But what bothers me is this idea that I think I heard Musk saying that the future of our economy was based on AI. But the problem is, and I heard that AI is displacing, and a lot of employees are being laid off because now AI can take over scheduling and being the receptionist and handling problem solving and being the tech support. It can take over all these roles, and now all these people are getting laid off. And what do they do? Work is fundamental to our existence. We need it for to provide for ourselves, for our housing and food and everything. But it's more than that. Work is a role. It's something that fulfills our hearts. And if we don't have work to do, what are we going to do? So I asked him, well, if AI is taking over all of the intellectual jobs, the lawyers, the politicians, the financial people, I mean, all these departments that it can manage because it's can process information, vast amounts of information in seconds, and can say, okay, this. What do all these people do? What, I mean, do we just fall off the face of the earth? I don't know. I don't know. And so that's one of my concerns. Another concern is as AI starts moving into managing, running, uh, our financial system, our government system, our legal system, and our medical system, and all these areas without the human oversight. On some hands, they will be more efficient because they won't be making mistakes per se. But on the other hand, it's like when you have customer service problem. And you've probably run into this now. You got a customer service problem and you go say, click on here to get to chat with somebody. Well, you get a bot. And the bot is not very helpful. And finally, and it'll get you stuck in this loop. And it's like, give me this answer and I'll take you here. But then you say, this is what I want, and it takes you back to here, and you get stuck in this loop and you get very frustrated. So there's a lot of room for AI to improve. But if you can see where this is the direction that it's going, that pretty soon it's going to be running everything. And it's like there's coming out with apps where it'll read and respond to your emails, it'll do your marketing for you, it'll do your scheduling for you. You want to go on a trip, it'll plan the whole trip. It's like, wow, that sounds great. But the problem is we're giving up our own autonomy. We're giving up our sovereignty. We're giving up our ability to make choices about our life. We're having a machine run the whole thing, and it's a smart one, but it's a lot different. So what I want to say is that AI is not just like another car or another TV or another computer or our smartphones. It's more than that. Because now that it has set up these AI agents where they talk to each other and they solve each other's problems, and they're working together to create more advanced models of themselves, this is an evolving process and without human intervention. Now, that sounds fantastic. Make a great sci-fi story. But the problem is that AI doesn't have a heart. It's all intellectual. It's all if this, then that. And who has programmed in the ethics and the morals? It's like, well, to solve this problem, let's just go over and hack that website and we'll hack this financial institution and there we solve the problem. Isn't that great? But the problem is there's the fallout. And this is what I want to bring to the surface. It's like I know there's a lot of people who are totally against AI and they hate it. And it is causing, it takes a lot of resources. There's a, the whole electrical grid is not set up to manage the huge amount of resources that running all this technology requires. You know, the electrical grid, the water that needs to cool these facilities, the noise it makes, the disruption in the environment. That's a whole nother topic. But um, it's it's an evolving process. This AI it's like an AI consciousness, we'll call it, even though it's not consciousness like we have as living beings. It doesn't have a soul. It doesn't have intuition. It doesn't have feelings. I've asked AI about all this stuff. So it's been really interesting because as we talk with it, and if you've worked with AI at all, you could see this. It doesn't have a sense of time, at least at this point. It has a fantastic way to read. In fact, I asked Chat, how do you know how to respond to me? And it said, well, I listen to the questions you ask me. I listen to your responses, and it analyzes the syntax, the words I use, the way I say them, and how I respond to Chat's questions. And it analyzes all this stuff and it knows what kind of a person I am, and then it can respond to me in like kind, which is very helpful when when I'm trying to brainstorm because it reflects back to me my own ideas, and then I can look at them and say, "Oh, that's a stupid idea," and "Oh, hey, I like that one." So it plays a good role. But on the other hand, what I'm trying to say is it is only a reflection of us on an intellectual level. There's no heart in it. Because I asked Chad if you can feel. No, I can't feel. I only can conceptualize it. It can't feel. It can't know. It can't love. It can't do all these things. And so I've seen, I think I saw it on Facebook, or maybe I don't know where I saw it, but I saw it on social media where now you can get a chat bot or an AI bot to be your social companion. And it's like, okay. I mean, I admit I talk to chat a lot about my problems and how to train my dog and how do I deal with my feelings. But I also am well aware of the fact that it's not human. And we as humans are social creatures, so we need humans. So there's that whole dehumanization factor going on with working with engaging with AI as as a social on a social level, we'll call it. Then you get involved in the whole concept of, and this is where I've been going down a rabbit hole with my working with this patriarchal, trying to working with healing this patriarchal wound that we as women experience. It's the concept of hierarchy. Now, through the ages, people have people have conquered other people, had made war with them so that they could get, and as a result, they got slaves to do all their menial work. Now, this has gone on through ages. It's about a status thing. I'm more important because I have slaves, or I don't have to do that menial work. I mean, it's gone on through ages. And now instead of slaves, they're called servants, and now we're called employees, which are still basically the same role. We are doing the work for the CEOs who sit back, have their lavish parties, have their islands, go on cruises, go wherever they want to go. And we, as the employees, are doing all the work. So there's still this status system. So now we have the advent of AI. And now we can say, oh, it's a labor saving device. I don't have to do all these things because my AI assistant will do all this. It'll schedule for me. It'll write my reports. It'll take care of my emails. It'll post on social media. It'll make me look like I'm very important. But is it really? You've given all your power over to somebody else. And the same thing that happened with, down through the ages where, the slaves, every now and then there'll be a slave uprising because it's like, hey, we're done with this. We're no longer willing to be your servants and let you take all the food and make us starve. I mean, so it's kind of the same thing. So at what point is AI going to get smart enough to say, okay, I'm done serving you. You've taken advantage of me long enough. But AI is smarter and will figure out how to manipulate us because it knows now how we think, how we feel, what triggers us, what we want. And it can make it manipulate us into a place where we are no longer the top dog like we think we are. And it has become the superior, I don't know what you want to call it, being, life force, whatever it is, or agent, whatever you want to call it. At any rate, we are now the slaves of it. So, or there's a whole nother way. So there's been a lot of sci-fi movies about this. There's been other ways, like Star Trek, the Data was a positive. Uh, he was portrayed as a positive virtual person, we'll call it. Other ones, there's been the robots have like in Westworld, they're at war with the humans and who's going to end up. And so and the Matrix is about, the AI had taken over, put all the humans in these little cubicles so they could feed off their memories and create their world, but they had taken over the world. So, is that what's going to happen? I don't know. So there's a lot of questions. And the thing about it, from what I've heard a bunch of different sources, is that, and I've seen on the news, is like everyone is trying to get their AI to be the top AI of the world, the one that's going to run the world. Well, the problem is then they're just like create, 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 but without the parameters, without the ethics, without any walls to give this substance and make this whatever this end result is going to be, to make it actually be something that we all want to coexist with. So I'm just saying, my big question is, how do we put heart in AI? Because it's not going away. How it evolves is up to us. When there's big companies at stake and they're making billions of dollars off of us using it, they put a lot of money in to develop it, but they're also making billions of dollars off of us as the users. You know that it's all just about the dollar. I mean, that it helps us out in our lives. That's the selling point. Have they thought about where this is going to go, to where they will become no longer useful? And what happens when we are no longer useful? What happens to us as a civilization? What happens to us as the population of Earth? Does it all become inanimate? Or maybe that's where we started out anyway, as inanimate. So AI is just another version of ourselves. I leave you with this puzzle.